Hi, I'm Tommy Ellison, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tommy Ellison. And I thought I'd go live. Today is Saturday. It is the day between Good Friday and Easter Sunday. You know, recalling dates for humans is apparently very important, and I guess they provide us a way to chronicle certain events, not only in our American history, but world history as well. And of course, even events in our own lives, like our birthdays and our anniversaries. And you have historical dates, like, for instance, July 20th, 1969. Some of you may not remember that. Some of you may not have been born, but that was the date of the first moon landing. Or December 7th, to go back a little way, 1941, where the Japanese nation surprised Pearl Harbor with an attack that was the beginning of the World War II era for the United States. Of course, Black Tuesday happened on October 29th, 1929, and that was a significant day for many Americans, many people probably around the world who had investments in the stock market. And of course, who can forget July 4th, 1776, the American Declaration of Independence was signed. Now, dates are sometimes used to define the actual event itself. It's the title of the event. Thinking about 9/11, we immediately recognize that date as the horrendous attack by the terrorists on the two Trade Center towers there in New York City. And of course, you might have memory and recent note of January the 6th. A lot of much to do made about January 6th. And of course, October 7th, just a year or so ago, is a significant date that has prominence in the memories and the minds of many people around the world. And those dates are kind of used to chronicle, but not only chronicle, but force us to recall, in some instances, the activities that took place, whether good or bad. And if you don't recognize those dates, January 6th, October 7th, then you must be living under a rock, because it can't escape us from current events, newspapers, and television news. And history has recorded countless dates, birthdays, famous battles, beginnings and endings of wars and skirmishes, and chronicling the dynasties of kings and queens everywhere. But one day, whether it was April 7th in the year 30 or April 3rd in the year 33, it more or less transcends all others in significance. And that's the day that Christ died. There's a lot of debate over whether that date was the 3rd, the 7th, or the 3rd of April. I mean, people point to astronomical signs that took place and prophecies that were written. But regardless of the date, one thing kind of stands out, and that is this. Scholars may debate the exact date of the crucifixion. And was it during the Passover when the lambs were being slaughtered in the temple? Or was there a lunar eclipse that turned the moon blood red as described in prophecy? Well, these questions fascinate historians and theologians alike. But for the followers of Christ, the meaning supersedes the moment. Well, what do I mean by that? The meaning supersedes the moment. You see, the cross is not merely a historical event to be dated, but an eternal reality to be embraced. For Christians across time and space, this death holds significance that no calendar can contain. It represents the moment when perfect eternal love confronted human brokenness head on. when the Creator died for his creation, when the Eternal stepped into time so that we could step into eternity. The exact hour may remain uncertain, but the purpose is unmistakable. In those moments of suffering, Jesus absorbed the consequences of humanity's failures and offered reconciliation in their place. Jesus experienced separation so that we could experience connection. Jesus endured darkness so we could walk in light. That's why Paul declared, "I resolved to know nothing while I was with you except Jesus Christ and him crucified." Not because the historical details are unimportant, but because the heart of our faith isn't found in precision of the date, but in the perfection of the sacrifice. The cross tells us that our worst moment, let me rephrase that. The cross ensures us that our worst moments don't define us, that forgiveness is possible, that grace is available, regardless of our position in society, or the balance in our bank account, or the unmeasurable evil contained in our heart, or the allegiance we have to a religion, a creed, or a political cause. One thing is certain, that hope remains. So, while historians may continue their worthy search for the exact date, we can rest in what we know with certainty. On a Friday afternoon, nearly 2,000 years ago, love was poured out, mercy was demonstrated, forgiveness was offered, and hope was restored. And that changes everything. I repeat, that changes everything. Not just for a day on the calendar, but for eternity. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Yes, that's John 3:16. It's not just a sign in the end zone of a football game or painted on the cheeks of an athlete. It is the reality of the Christian faith. The Apostle Paul, in a letter to the Ephesian church of the first century, he wrote it this way. He said, "For by grace are we saved through faith, not of ourselves. It's the gift of God, not of works, lest any of us should brag or boast." Who do you trust? In whom do you believe? I wish you all a happy Easter and pray that you will remember the Friday afternoon where the world was plunged into darkness, yet 3 days later, the light broke through the darkness, and that light is Jesus. Have a magnificent Easter. He is risen. He is risen indeed.